IVM.
Hey guys, welcome to the Positively Unlimited podcast. Today's episode might come as a bit of a shocker to some of y'all. Why? Because just as its name goes, this is about understanding that finding your life purpose is not all about you. This is the 14th perspective in the current A to Z series of Finding Your Life Purpose. And in order for you to practice this particular mindset, you will have to take that ball of entitlement that you walk around with and throw it out of the window. What do I mean when I say not all about you? Well, honestly, it means exactly that. Your life purpose, you living your life purpose, is not all about you. It will be about how it impacts somebody else, or what is the magic that you possess that you were born to share with the world. So, well, just by those two sentences, you'll realize that technically it's all about the world. It's all about other people. It's not so much about you. Now sit with this perspective for a moment. Take a few deep breaths and, well, settle down with the thought that, oh, the world does not go around me, does it? What will give meaning to my life may not be technically useful to me at all. And once that perspective, that thought settles down, you may experience a tinge of humility. And when you're able to swallow this particular thought, you're able to make peace with it, you may experience a tinge of humility creeping through your bones, but also you will understand and realize that your privilege has a higher purpose. Even if the only privilege that you enjoy in this lifetime is to know your life purpose and to be able to live it day in and day out, well, remember that that privilege has a higher purpose. It is not all about you, and it is not only for you. The 3 episodes that you want to go back to at this point are episodes 161, 162, and 163. 161 is called Kindly Be Honest, because this is the time to go back and answer the questions that I have asked in that episode, and to be completely honest. This is where the answers to the questions in that episode come handy. 162 is called Legacy. And honestly, when you truly understand that concept called legacy, you will realize that it is not all about you. The legacy you build is the impact that you have had on other people's lives and how they remember you. So again, I circle back to that phrase. Finding your life purpose is not all about you. And the 3rd episode that I just asked you to listen to again is 163, which is about money. And like I have said this over and over again in almost all of the 14 episodes of this particular A to Z series of Finding Your Life Purpose, it isn't about making money. It isn't about finding your career path. It isn't about just finding a calling. It isn't about becoming rich or living that grand life that you've been imagining. Finding your life purpose is about being able to take the potential that you hold within you and do something with it that can change your world just a little bit or maybe a lot. The result of finding your life purpose is understanding that you have an impact to make. It is about looking at your own self-worth from a whole different angle. You won't have time to sit and whine about, oh, am I good enough? Or am I worthy enough? When you find your life purpose, you will find yourself running towards it and from there, living it every moment. And in many of those moments, you will realize that you actually don't exist. Because what you are doing is so much about giving to other people or affecting other people that this whole thing of thinking about yourself and even that concept of me time, well, it won't exist. Now, I know that I may be painting an extreme picture, but I'd like you to wrap your head around this extreme picture this week. Because for some of us, that extreme picture becomes our reality when we figure out our life purpose and how to live it. And for some of us, that extreme reality, well, it's still our reality, but yes, it's kind of less intense. The two big obstacles that many of us face when we are trying to find our life purpose, trying to understand it, is our sense of entitlement and our privilege. Now, let me say this again. When I say privilege and when I say entitlement, I'm not telling you that you need to be poor or you need to be downtrodden or underprivileged to find your life purpose. No, I don't mean that. But what I mean is, what are you doing with the privileges that you enjoy? Let's take an example. Say you've had the privilege of going abroad to study. Firstly, you need to recognize that that is a privilege. It may be a norm in your setting, but that does not change the fact that it is an opportunity and a privilege that the universe has extended to you. Now, my question is, what are you going to do with it? That education that you've had, and it's not just about the degree, but the entire experience of it. What are you going to do with it? How are you using it today, 10 years after you graduated? Or maybe 15 or 20 years after you graduated? How are you using it? And the other bit about entitlement. How do you know when you are walking around with that cloud of entitlement over your head? Well, one example, if I can give you right now, off the top of my head, would be, say that things don't go your way and it takes you like barely 30 seconds or 1 minute to throw a tantrum or to get frustrated. Well, consider yourself extremely privileged to be able to even get frustrated. That's entitlement coming up. Now, it's not to say that when things don't go your way, you shouldn't get irritated, you shouldn't feel anything, you shouldn't get frustrated. No, it's not to say that at all. But it's to say that observe and understand how quickly are you allowed to get frustrated and how much are you allowed to get away with. How much leeway do you have in your life around you? While it's okay to be entitled to those kind of privileges and luxuries, the bigger question to ask yourself is, what am I doing with it? So instead of getting frustrated in 30 seconds, how can I use the privilege that I have, this space where I'm allowed to get irritated and frustrated when something doesn't go my way? Can I change my behavior? Can I have a different reaction? A reaction that will be more uplifting for myself and hence, in some way, for someone else who's involved in this situation. I'm going to say this again. Finding your life purpose is not going to be all about you. And the two obstacles that will stand in your path are your sense of entitlement and your, lack of understanding the privileges that you hold. A good exercise to do this week is to answer this question. What kind of access do I have? What kind of access do you have? Think about it. Think about that question. What do I mean by that question? Well, start from something in your daily life. You have access to online shopping. You have access to great education. You have access to taking naps in the afternoon. You have access to throwing emotional tantrums and having people mollycoddle you. You have access to great meals every single day. What kind of access do you have in life? And after you've answered these everyday kind of questions, go deeper. What kind of access do I have? Who are the people that I know? What are the windows and doors that can open up from my network? What kind of knowledge do I have? What kind of exposure have I been given? Ask yourself all these questions and see what you can understand about your life and how it affects other people. Ask yourself these questions and understand the kind of life that you are living and how it affects other people in your personal relationships, in your professional relationships, and even the world in general. Remember, the thing you want to practice this week is to constantly remind yourself that It isn't all about you. As for those previous episodes I mentioned, well, they're available on the IBM Podcast app as well as the IBM website. You can connect with us on Instagram. Our handle is IBM Podcast, and on Twitter as well on the same handle. Also, if you would like to get in touch with me personally, DM me on Instagram. My handle is Positivity Angel.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors very quickly this week, thewholetruthfoods.com, Storytel, and Seat. We really do appreciate your support. And we had a great week on the network this week. So tune in for some sweetness with our hosts Sadaf and Archit as they hone their sweet tooth and talk about candies. The famous, the healthy, the traditional, and international. Check out Naan Curry. You'll enjoy it. On last week's episode of The Note, Maruk and I spoke to TV presenter and columnist Veer Sanghvi, who analyzed the 2 years of the second term of the Modi government. As China and India signed the disengagement agreement along the LAC, Lieutenant General Dr. Prakash Menon and Manoj Kevarmani joined Suyash Desai to discuss the process and the consequences it will have on the nation and in world politics. Dr. Anton Harder joins Hamsani Hariharan on States of Anarchy to discuss India's right to a seat at the United States Security Council. Ashton Doctor talks about duty, how individually it binds us and how as a society it is liberating. Check out the Habit Coach with Ashton. Every day, great show and great fun to listen to that. On Football Show to All the Boys, talk about their loves and sorrows for teams and their current ranks in the world of football. And also do remember to check out Cyrus Says. We had a great week last week. We had Amol Mazumdar, the ex-cricketer. We had Rocky and Mayur. And we did the Valentine special with Aisha and Kunal. Great fun. Do check it out. I'm sure you will enjoy that. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Hey, I'm Zarina, your peak performance coach, leadership coach, and life coach. And I'm here to unleash that power within you with your weekly dose of mantras and empowerment. Tune in to Monday Mantras every Monday for your quick fix, and the Empowering Series with Zarina Poonawalla every Thursday for riveting real-life stories. You can catch us on the IBM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.